but we are on a different line than that. We go straight to we try to connect with God. So what happens is that there's a material energy and there's a spiritual energy. Right? There's two different energies. So the material energy is everything that's kind of material. So even like mystical powers, even energy forms of like with water, fire, all of those. Our bodies are made of this. But what we try to do is actually try to connect to the spiritual energy and trying to get to that, which is because God is 100% spiritual. So he's nothing material. He's not contaminated by anything material. He's like 100%. So when you connect with God, you get, that full potency of God. All right, not in this. You're not becoming God, which is sometimes different to some other philosophies. But what you're doing is just that you're like a part and parcel of. So you're like a tiny, minute part. So you have the same qualities, but in tiny form.
Okay, and what is your understanding and definition of God?
So gods would be, the all attractive personality. So personality. So for us, God has got a personality. He's got a name. It's like it's like a person. You know. So yeah, an all attractive person. What we say.
So you think of God as not necessarily physical, but an entity. You think of it as an actual entity as opposed to a state, or
Also. So what happens is God has got many forms and different. Like, it's got thousands and millions of forms. It's got different ways of expressing itself or himself. Um,
or herself.
it's actually Krishna is a him, so we believe it's a him. He's got Radharani, which is his consort, which is just his immediate expansion, which is Radharani, which is who he loves the most, and he does everything for her.
But
So
do you think that Krishna and Radharani and whatever her name and all the other gods, or there are gods, like it's like polytheistic, isn't it? So
so
the
different. They're demigods.
demigods, sorry.
Demigods. Yeah.
So do you think that the demigods and Krishna are created for us to be able to actually conceptualize them as real people or like actual physical things? Do you think they're created for that purpose to help us understand? Or do you think that they are still just spirit entities with their own things and they don't have a physical form or didn't have a physical form?
Mm. So the first thing is whoever like an interesting question would be like whoever, let's say, created that that would be God.
Right.
So technically, God is the creator. So
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, like, and also, so we believe that Krishna is a creator. So he created um those forms for different purposes. One of the main purposes is for his own enjoyment.
But they were physical forms.
So
That's believed to be physical forms.
it depends on who and what. It depends on who's got the physical form. Sometimes people have physical forms, like material physical forms, like grossly physical. Some of them more spiritual, so some of them is more subtle. So it's like you have different forms now. You have like a form of water, so you can have ice, water, liquids, vapor. So all those are different forms of types of different elements. And it kind of comes the same thing with spirituality, because it's like you have your minds, which is an energy within itself, but it's very subtle. You can't see it per se. You know what I mean? As the physical body, you can see it very easily.
But Hare Krishna is is that a branch of Hinduism? So do because Krishna is part of is one of is the Hindu god. Am I correct in that? And
Krishna
then
is part of the Hindu gods. Yeah,
yeah, and then you have like Ganesh, the one with the
that's
elephant,
right.
and
Yeah,
then you have like Vishnu and
that's
some of
right.
the other ones. So you believe in the same gods, or you
Yeah,
use the same gods as the Hindus.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
then how did Hare Krishna, like, what is the distinction between Hinduism and Hare Krishna?
So it's yeah. I mean, this goes into like the history of like Hinduism and stuff like this, and the history of the lineage of the Hare Krishnas, which is actually what we're called to speak is Vaishnavism. So Vaishnava is somebody who serves God
Okay.
directly, a servant of God. So that's why we're called devotees, because we devote ourselves to God as much as we can, like you know what I mean, and our possibilities and our willingness to serve. So yeah, we try to do that. But then when it comes down to Hinduism, Hinduism is not is like a lot of people. What happens in Hinduism is that some of them they also think as other gods as gods, or sometimes on equal level as gods. So, for example, they might think of Shiva on equal level as God, or Ganesh on equal level as Krishna. But we take Krishna as a supreme, and everybody else is his servants. So even the
Okay.
demigods are his servants. I think that's where we kind of maybe differentiate a little bit from Hinduism, whereas they're all gods and they're probably on the same level. But where we definitely differentiate is one supreme personality, Krishna, um, of Godhead. Yeah.
So I wonder, would that then classify it as monotheistic?
I don't know.
I don't know. I
I'm
don't
not a
know.
religious. I'm not a religious religion philosopher. Religion philosopher. I've got no idea about this.
So one supreme god who has demigods that serve him.
Yeah, serve him. Yeah, and serve humanity also. Actually, mostly the demigods are serving humanity.